This is Divine Lifestyles with Tara Magalski. What is a divine lifestyle? Passion, purpose, and living in alignment with your truth. Thanks for tuning into Divine Lifestyles, transforming your life with purpose. On this podcast, we share stories that transform your life by feeding your spirit, mind, and body. And like I always say, guys, if you dig this message, please rate, subscribe, and review, because this really helps us to keep growing our audience. And I thank you in advance. But on to today's guest, I have the lovely Nykki Hardin. And Nikki is a natural health specialist, and she is also the founder of Nikki's Cleanse. And she is on a mission, and I always love a girl who's on a mission, but she is on a mission to transform toxic America by providing the tools, information, education to care for oneself physically, mentally, and spiritually. Now, this is right up my alley because, as you know, her and I share a very, very similar mission. But she is an expert at cleaning out the body to gain energy, resetting the metabolism, and to experience happiness. And she has spent the last 22 years researching and traveling the world, teaching and sharing natural solutions for physical, mental, and emotional health. So that being said, thank you so much, Nikki, for taking the time to be my guest today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I mean, this is a gift. So I love sharing everything within me. And when I was connected to you and I went to your site and I learned about you, I was like, oh, I got to know this woman. It was just, I felt like our spirits had very similar messages, you know? And so I was just, when you were open to this, I was really excited. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So let's get right into it, because I know that you and I have lots to talk about. We've had a lot of similar experiences, just journey-wise.
Yeah.
But you began to study nutrition at the age of 15, along with yoga and also learning meditation and living a conscious lifestyle.
Yeah.
So how, in God's name, did you start learning these life skills at such a young age?
You know, it was, like I said, at 15, it really became, at that point in my life, it was about, I was an athlete, a 3-sport athlete, and I was, you know, kind of one of these overachieving kind of spirits, if you will, forces, right? And I was a valedictorian, so I was all about performance, right? For me, it began like, how can I enhance my performance and feel better, right? It was the potential, you know, the potential of just having that energy, and then also the desire to just want to have energy to feel good. And so that's when it all began. And from there, it just kind of, you know, the food soon became clear that it had so much more to do with than just the physical aspect, but really the mental and emotional aspect of our existence, right? As spiritual beings having a human experience. And so, you know, over time, just not too many years later, I actually found myself getting involved into yoga. And my journey into yoga was all about trying to deal with the amount of pressure that I carried personally, that I just accepted as my own kind of path, right? Because, like I said, the overachiever. And yoga led to the next thing, which led to the next thing, and then there was a turning point in my life that really came at the age of 29, when I suddenly lost my mom. And at 29, you know, she had a brain aneurysm and went into a coma and never woke up. And I didn't have the skills at that time to deal with that, right? And so I found myself in a very, very dark state of depression. And I had 6 months of not participating in the world. And and was having really self-destructive thoughts. And so I knew that it didn't have to be that way. And I knew that the only way to get out of that place was to do the work.
Yep.
And that's kind of what really took me on this world journey, for lack of better words, to where I ended up going to India and diving into yoga, Ashtanga yoga, specifically transcendental meditation, and then cleansing. That's when I found I had my first real serious cleanse experience. And once I had that, it was like, oh, okay, this really is my tool with these lifestyle choices about the yoga and the meditation and the consciousness fueled by the cleansing to really clear the body out, of the toxicity and the stress and the emotional kind of angst
Trauma.
that we experience. Oh, it's amazing. I mean, that's my go-to tool. I do it like 3-4 times a year. And for me, the journey isn't about, losing weight, which everyone does, or needing more energy. It's about, how do I keep my mind and my emotions in that really clear, pure state of being, where I'm in that state of trust and flow with nature and with God and with my own divine being, if that makes sense. So that's kind of a long-winded explanation, but that was the beginning of the journey.
Yeah. I'm just quickly going to add to that, and I'm not sure if you got to read a little bit about, I lost my mother at 27.
Oh,
and
wow.
I lost her suddenly as well, but a bit differently. I lost her to a combination of pharmaceutical pills.
Wow.
And so it's interesting when you said, oh, when I read about you, I thought, oh, for sure she read that. And it's also, I went through a very difficult time as well that I most recently just came out and spoke about on a large setting to the public. I just came out and actually shared my battle with depression and destructive and suicidal thoughts. So I understand.
Wow.
We took similar but different journeys, but of course it's always your journey that gets you to where you are today, right?
Amen. Amen. And it's what keeps you going, I mean, the journey never stops, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's no end, there's no destination. It just keeps going, but it just keeps fueling, I have no idea. Wow, this blows my mind.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I want you to tell everyone who's listening, because I thought it was really interesting when I read that you had you went to Thailand and you learned a lot about detoxifying the body. You worked with in Thailand or in India, did you work with the Ayurvedic doctors and practitioners? And then you also did metabolic testing and labs. So tell us everything.
Yeah, totally. Well, like I said, I started researching at 15 and it never stopped. And I would say even to the point of when I got to 29, I was always a mad researcher and I was coaching on, nutrition via no matter what I was doing. It was always in the flow, right? The food component of what I was doing. And then when I was in India and I had my first cleanse experience, I mean, it was literally to the point where I would read, for the first time I picked up like an Ayurvedic book that talked about, using Sanskrit and these technical words and talking about it in terms of how it affected the body and this, that. And I would read it for the first time and it all made sense to me. And then I'd go and I'd have these meetings with doctors. I would schedule appointments with the doctors at the ashram. And I would have these conversations in Sanskrit about the body. And they were looking at me like, something's not, And I was just blown away by that. And then that combined with this experience where 2 weeks after I'd done the cleanse, it was like I could feel my cells vibrating. And it was like all these old mental patterns and emotions that I thought I was kind of complete with started to come like present to the surface. And I reconnected with the doctor and also with my transcendental meditation, who was a direct disciple of the Maharishi. And they both said the same things. And that was that your cells trap these memories, in their very essence. And they're not always yours. They're inherited, right, through your genetics and through your environment. So it comes through. And this is your cells releasing that. So just be present with it and let it go. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I was hooked. And so at this point, I said, okay. So I found an Ayurvedic practitioner, and I studied one-on-one with him at his healing center just outside of Mysore. So it was, every day I'd take a rickshaw after yoga out there, and I would be with someone, whether it was the cooking person or the doctor in this area or the doctor himself. It was like this whole compound. And I studied one-on-one with them there and learned about nutrition and herbs and what they were doing for cancer patients and all of this. Mm. So that was like the first thing. And then I ended up going from there. The next thing I did is I went to Thailand, and I started working at cleansing and fasting resorts, and I was managing the detox programs there and coaching people and helping them choose which program to go on, helping them understand what they were going through in the element of the healing process, both on a physical and on an emotional level. Mm-hmm. And just really kind of was there, I was the go-to person for the whole cleanse element of the spa. Mm-hmm. And what I really found in that time was that there were two things that really people needed. And that was they needed the support and the guidance through the cleansing process, but they also needed nutrition education, because this whole idea of fasting, our bodies are toxic because of the food we choose, the environment we live in, and then the stress that we experience, right? Mm-hmm. So if people they're making these choices where every day they're still waking up and having caffeine and having the coffee, and then they're having a bagel and they're da-da-da-da-da. Well, when you go to a fasting place, you go there because you've just polluted your body, and now you're experiencing all of these symptoms, and you need to clean it out. But because you're fasting, you're not learning anything about nutrition or creating any new habits. So I spent so much time educating people and different choices that they could make and how they could set up their life to make healthier choices. But inevitably, what I knew is they were just going to go home and make that same choice mm-hmm. that they made before, because we're humans, right? Creatures of habit, and it takes time to break the habit. So that kind of got me spawned in thinking, right? Like, it doesn't have to be this way. There's got to be like a marriage of the two. And then I went to work in a metabolic testing lab here in Los Angeles, where I was the point person to basically the most brilliant man that I've ever met in my life, who is no longer with us. And he's a really, really brilliant neuroscientist that had created a test to detect the 122 metabolites in the body and measure the imbalances, and then start to heal from the root cause of the suffering, right? Because our metabolism really regulates 90% of our health. People don't realize this, but everything you're experiencing in a moment-to-moment basis is ultimately controlled by your metabolism. But your metabolism is going to be affected by the amount of toxicity that you have in your body and the food that you feed it, right? So as I learned more in this environment, and I was actually coaching practitioners, I was working with doctors and practitioners in helping them understand how to help their clients heal from the root cause of suffering while they treated the symptoms, right? Because everyone goes to the doctor for a symptom, right? So we worked together in this, and I was really like, I saw just at that point, it became so clear to me, because I understand the metabolism from the most basic fundamental elements. You know, it's something that could be explained to a third grader and they could understand it. And what I understand is that that really came to be the most prevalent in this is that our metabolic reactions, which are what are happening every single moment of our life, continually and throughout our whole body, which is happening at the cellular level, these reactions are blocked by toxins, right? So when you're eating food that has chemicals and herbicides and they're genetically modified, and you're taking a shower in the water that has fluoride and other chemicals, and you're drinking water that all of these things, you know, the stress that you experience, your cells aren't able, like the toxicity in that really creates what I call like a Berlin Wall around your cell so that you can't get the nutrients that you need. Yeah. So your body starts to become congested. Your liver's congested. It can't clean itself out anymore. Your blood becomes toxic, for lack of a better word. It's polluted. And, you know, the health of our blood is like so important because this is where your cells live. If your cells aren't in an environment where they can live, how can you have life? You can't, you know? So I really saw clearly at this point, like, cleansing is a lifestyle. And this is something that you need to do like 3 to 4 times a year because that's the foundation of health. And this is why I start to feel depressed after months and months and months of living in the Western world and dealing with this, you know? And when I started to I mean, it's like every single thing. And if you get back to it, every single, you know, disease and symptom is coming down to inflammation and stress and toxicity in the body. So this is what I've seen throughout the years that I established my cleanse program. It's been amazing to see women with massive thyroid issues be able to reverse a lot of their symptoms. Or in, you know, 2 weeks, I have clients dropping 100 points in their cholesterol. You know, 3 weeks, 20 pounds off their body and like having energy again and thinking clearly. And they're like, what? And I'm like, it's because we're cleaning out your body and resetting your metabolism. So that's kind of how that all came out. And after that experience, I was like on a soapbox. I had to educate everyone, you know? I was like, come on, guys. And they said, well, Nikki, we need to cleanse. What do we do? And I was like, well, there's actually nothing I really believe in that's on the market because none of the products are pure enough, and they all have you on these powders and shakes and skipping meals. So that's not going to help you get on set with like a high alkaline diet, which is what your cells need to survive. And you need really high quality medicine to go in to heal and repair your body. And I was like, there's nothing, you guys. And they said, well, create something. And I was like, oh, you know, I was like, dang it. I was like, you know, it was like source bringing you the message. And so I did. And that's when I formulated my products, and I created the very specific nutrition regimen, and I put together a whole lifestyle program that really gets you on track with not only your nutrition, but it totally cleans out your body and it transforms your life. It's beautiful. So that's.
So tell us a little bit about, and I would love to try your cleanse. I have a whole food-based cleanse that I've used with my clients. Yeah. But do you have herbs or tinctures that you use as well?
I do, actually. And silly me, I've got them on the counter right there. I can just bring them really quick so you can see. Just one sec.
Cool.
Oh my goodness.
Because I know how important it is to have the tinctures as well. Yeah. They're, you know, medicinal. I studied herbs years ago, and it was something that I was always adding in.
Yeah.
Oh, so let me see. Okay, awesome. Liver tonic, wonderful.
And the bowel tonic.
Awesome. I
So
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Thank
where are
you.
you selling them?
Everything is done via e-commerce right now on my website. And then I've started partnering with practitioners. So I have different alternative medicine and also allopathic medicine doctors that are now offering this to their patients and their clients. And actually, I'm also working with different holistic healthcare practitioners, so nutritionists, and it's expanded, so it's available definitely through my website. And then, like I said, other practitioners are based on what works for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're either distributing it and selling it themselves, or they are referring, or will do like a group program for their people. So it's been a very beautiful dynamic experience, so that this can really bring, benefit to the most people, right? Because I don't need everyone, like I need whoever needs to receive this to receive it, whether it comes through me on my e-commerce site, or whether it comes through you with your whole food cleanse, or the doctors that I'm working with,
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to put together the products and the medicinal medicine?
The formulas, at this point, I've been studying herbs and nutrition and so much for so long, that it didn't really take that long for me to figure out what needed to come together. But to put it all together really took quite a long time, in the sense of formulating the products was a fairly easy thing for me, because I'd already, I'm always playing with herbs and potions and things like that. Like, that's just, I've always been called the medicine woman, the mixologist, anyone that has a challenge. I have a friend who was diagnosed with cancer last week who called me, what do I do? What should I change? This is like a regular thing in my life, and it always has been. And so it didn't take me long to put together what herbs I needed, because I knew specifically, like, okay, we have to focus on three things in this, really. Well, two organs, which are the liver and the bowel, because the liver is the organ that is the most, it is responsible for cleaning out the entire body. And every single thing that comes into your body, whether it be through your mouth or through the environment and your skin, whatever, it all has to go through the liver. So when the liver is inflamed and congested and backed up, your body can't heal itself. It can't clean itself naturally. So everything starts to go downhill. So that was the first, these are really like full body. It's not just liver and bowel. That's for ease in FDA regulations, right? In terms of labeling, it's a fun process. And then you want to focus on the bowel, because that's your primary elimination channel. And it makes sense. If you assimilate, digest, and eliminate all through your intestines. And so if your intestines are toxic and you're not eliminating, and you've got parasites and bacteria and yeast in your intestines, and then you've got the excess toxicity kind of hanging out on the outsides of the intestinal walls, or you've got leaky gut, all of these things are going to keep you in that state of what we call auto-intoxication, right? Where the toxicity will just keep going into the bloodstream. And so it's all recycled, right? And your intestines touch every major organ in your body but the heart, okay? So if your intestines are leaking toxicity, and that they're all touching, it's going right into your blood and into your organs, well, what good does it do you to only do a kidney cleanse, or only a lymph cleanse, or only a liver cleanse, or only a food cleanse? Do you know? It's like, you got to clean that too.
Yeah.
And then you also have to work on cleaning the body I mean the blood, excuse me, cleaning the blood. And one of the other really, really big things that was really important that I wanted to address in this specifically is reducing the stress that's in the body. So the cortisol and the adrenaline, to significantly reduce that immediately and restore the endocrine system so that the hormones could become rebalanced.
Exactly.
Because it's so important for everything. And I mean, I don't struggle with depression anymore because I have this regimen, and it keeps my hormones balanced, and it keeps my joints lubricated, and it helps me. I struggled with insomnia my whole life. My whole life I couldn't sleep through the night. And now I sleep like a baby. Like I go to bed and I'm asleep, and I wake up. I go to the bathroom 2 times a night, probably on average. And I lay back down and I'm right back asleep, and I wake up before my alarm every day. And this is like, and I'm ready to get out of bed. So, and this isn't just me. It's all, if you read my Yelp reviews, I mean, people are saying this too, it's like, I'm not the only one here. So formulating it didn't take that long. It was really kind of putting together the whole package. And there's like over 100 recipes in the guidebook and the toolkit, and putting together the full program. That took a bit of time because, as when you're creating content, and someone's really, you got to make sure, especially when they're taking medicine and things like that. It can take time. But what did take me time, I'm sorry, let me just say, was to find a manufacturer that met my standards. Yeah. Because I only do the best. And it took me a really long time. And the standards of purification of this, I mean, every ingredient is organic or wild crafted. There are no fillers, no binders, no stabilizers, nothing. It's pure Mother Nature love. That's it. And then every single batch is sent out for third-party testing for heavy metals, aflatoxin, arsenic, cadmium, aluminum, lead, E. coli, and microbacteria. So I'm a little over the top, but I know what I got works.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I know with herbs, just studying Western herbs, is you have to be careful with them. So my next question to you is, how often can you do this cleanse? Because I have a really funny story. I was all excited about 8 years ago, and I came home to my family on the holidays, and I said, I put together this amazing concoction, and I did, and I made them this beautiful tea. And I didn't realize, but that mixed with the turkey and all the other things, everyone passed out. I actually put my entire family to sleep. I didn't mean it. They all were like, we need a nap. And everyone fell asleep for like 3 hours. And I was like, oh my God, well, you can use this if you have trouble sleeping.
Perfect.
But I didn't realize that mixed with the food, now they're metabolizing it, and each person's a little bit different, that everyone was action. So what have you learned with the herbs about, mixing them with different foods, and also how often can you do the cleanse?
Yeah. So as far as, every herb is going to have a different response to your questions. But as far as these go, that's why in the toolkit, there's a very specific way that you need to take the herbs, as well as the food that you're eating, so that it comes in and your body is able to receive the medicine in its greatest efficacy, right? So it can have the greatest efficacy. And so this is, that's all in the program details, the regimen of that, because you want to make sure that you're eating, but your eating isn't interfering with when you take the medicine, so that the medicine, I mean, it's liquid, so your body doesn't have to break anything down or digest anything, right? Which is where if you have powders and pills, so many of those are loaded with binders and filling agents and stabilizers and heavy metals. and they're also in a form that your body can't understand, right? So it's not a pure ingredient, if that makes sense. It's kind of a chemical. It's a processed way of making that ingredient to go in that thing, right?
Absolutely.
And so, as far as these are concerned, you do have to take them very strategically according to the regimen. And all of the guidance is in the toolkit, when you order it. So it's full, you understand exactly what to do. You can stay on the tonics for 28 days. One order is, it's about a 21-day process, but you're on the tonics for 14 days. Okay. So it's a 2 week on the tonics, but 3 weeks of eating a high alkaline diet is what I advise. For clients that do have, greater weight loss goals, significant hormone challenges and imbalances, I deal with people with very serious, health challenges, and post-menopause, or really toxic, or, their liver has experienced a lot of abuse from drinking and whatnot. I advise they be on it, at least for the first time, for 28 days, so that their body can really get a very good dose of the medicine, But the standard kind of way for the standard person is 14 days. And I really recommend doing it 3 to 4 times a year. And it's about every season, we know, because I know you're, this is what you do too. And it's been practiced for generations and decades and centuries, this doing a cleanse at the change of the season. That's what people have done and do,
Rebirthing into the new season and eating seasonally, and that's such a major part of healing your body with whole foods is eat in the season. Go to the farmer's market. It's the number one easiest thing to do. You can just go to the farm or find a farmer's market. So tell everyone where they could go and buy your products online or contact you directly to work with you for your program.
So you can find me on my website at nykkyhardin.com, and it's NYKKIHARDIN.com. And really, that's the easiest way to get on board. There's a subscribe there. You can subscribe and leave me a message. My email is nikki@nykkyhardin.com. So it's very easy. Please reach out if there's anything that I can do to help you just really realize real vibrant health and happiness and to support you on your path. Please know it's possible, and it happens in my world all day, every day. And I'm here however I can. And if it's serving, 2 things. First of all, for everyone that has tuned in today, I want to offer you a $50 discount on your first order with the coupon code DIVINE. Because I just want to, Divine, of course. So I just want to say thank you, and add some value to Tara and your audience, because this is amazing. And for anyone else that thinks that they might be interested, starting November 1st, I actually have a group cleanse that's kicking off, and we're going to have a private Facebook group, and there's going to be videos and sharing and support. And one of my dearest clients and friends, Lisa Williams, who's a very well-known psychic medium around the world, she lost 60 pounds starting with my program last year and has kept it off. And so we're doing a program together starting November 1st. So if this is interesting, please jump on board. I would love to have anyone and everyone involved. So
amazing. Well, from one healer to another, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you.
And everyone who's listening, again, as you can tell, I am here to fill you with amazing tools. So please, if you like this, share this with your friends or a loved one or someone who really needs to hear this or possibly purchase Nykki's Cleanse. And remember to subscribe, rate, and review. and I'll see you all next time. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe to this channel to get your weekly fix for all you spiritual gangsters. Any questions or comments, go to my site at taramagalski.com, drop me a note. I'd love to hear from you. And stay tuned for next week. I got the good stuff.